What's up, guys? My name is Brandon. You guys can call me Swifterrs, and welcome back to a brand new Fortnite video here on my channel today. I'm super excited to be bringing you guys the first episode of a brand new series here on my channel. This is Fortnite Mythbusters episode 1. This is a series that I've really wanted to do on my channel for quite some time. I just never got around to doing it, but I'm so excited to finally be doing it here on my channel. Now, I'm not claiming to have thought of this series. I know that there are a lot of people that have done this, but I really want this to be a frequent thing that I post here on my YouTube channel because I'm super eager to try out all of the awesome things that we may or may not potentially be able to do here in Fortnite, a Battle Royale. Now, I want you guys to go ahead and let me know down in the comment section below what myths or what things you guys want me to test out in the next episode, and if enough people want those myths tested, I will be more than happy to include it in the next episode. So make sure to leave your opinions, comments, and feedback down below. So with all of that being said, let's dive straight into today's video, taking a look at Fortnite Mythbusters episode 1. Now, the first myth we're going to be testing is whether or not you can rocket ride on the brand new guided missile. This was a weapon or an item that was added into Fortnite earlier this morning with the patch volume update 3.4, and honestly, I have high hopes, and I had high hopes. I assumed that, like the RPG that's already in the game, players will still be able to rocket ride on the guided missile, and it will be a lot cooler and a lot easier to control given the fact that your teammate is actually the one controlling the guided missile. Now, I have played so many games this morning trying to find this guided missile, and I have been unable to do so. So I have a clip here from a user on Twitter known as Dicey, and as you guys can clearly see, him and his friend were able to get one of them to clearly rocket ride on top of this guided missile. It's a super awesome feature, especially given the fact that unlike the RPG, you can actually control where the guided missile goes. So rocket riding on a guided missile is super overpowered, and it's obviously and clearly something that players are able to do. Not only can you rocket ride on a guided missile, but you can actually rocket ride on your own guided missile. This clip on Twitter was posted by Myth, the man himself, and as you guys can see, he was actually able to get himself to rocket ride on his very own missile that he originally shot. So this is super cool because if you're trying to get clips by yourself on a rocket, you're able to do so because you are able to get that rocket ride on top of your very own guided missile. Now, the next myth that I wanted to test was whether or not you could actually break a supply llama. Now, honestly, this myth was a little bit difficult to actually do just because the supply llamas are pretty rare and the spawn rates are so low. So it honestly took me a couple of days to actually find a supply llama, but luckily when me and my friends were playing, we came across one, and I was a little bit skeptical as to what exactly would happen when I went and tried to break that supply llama because I really wanted to get all of the supplies and other resources in the supply llama, so I wasn't sure what would happen if we tried to break it, but clearly you guys can see when me and my friend try to hit it with a pickaxe, nothing happens. I also tried to use some explosives on the supply llama in a different gameplay that I unfortunately accidentally deleted, so I can't include it in this video, but for some reason the supply llamas don't break, and honestly that surprised me a little bit because they're very similar to a supply drop or a chest, and with those supply drops, those actually take damage, whereas the chests, if you break them, they completely disappear. So it looks like you cannot, as of now, destroy a supply llama. Now, the next myth that I wanted to test was what would happen if you put a soccer ball in the water. I was curious to know if it would float or not, and honestly, this myth, like the supply llama one, was a little bit difficult to record just because there were constantly people trying to kill me, and sometimes it was a little bit difficult to actually get that ball all the way down to Loot Lake, but luckily this time no one killed me. I was able to actually kill them, and finally I was able to bring that ball all the way down and into the water, and as I said, I was a little bit unsure exactly what would happen, and I thought that the soccer ball was going to float. However, as you guys can see, when we bring the soccer ball into the Loot Lake water, it goes under the water, and you can actually still mess around with it. You can kick it, you can hear it, you can also see it, but it is a little bit difficult to actually see it. You can kind of see the reflection of it in the top of the water, but you can also see that it's resting on the bottom of Loot Lake. You can still play with it, you can still mess around, but surprisingly, the soccer ball does not float when it's dropped in the water. Now the next myth is a little bit weird, but I wanted to see what would happen if you shot a 3-burst rifle and you only had 1 bullet in the chamber. I was curious to know whether or not it would actually make the 3 bullet sounds or if it would only make 1. This was a little bit tricky to actually get just 1 bullet in the chamber. I had to mess around and drop ammo, but here we go. Let's see if it shoots 3 shots. So from the looks of it, it appears that if you only have 1 bullet in a 3-burst rifle, when you shoot, it sounds like 3 are coming out, but you only actually see 1. Now, I was super curious to see if it would only make the gunshot of just a regular rifle because there would only be 1 bullet in the chamber, but it clearly sounds and it looks like even though you shoot 1 bullet, it still makes a 3-shot sound. So the next myth that I wanted to take a look at in today's video is what would happen if you have the bush equipped onto your character and you do the flippin' sexy emote. I wasn't necessarily sure what would happen and if the bush would actually flip. I was under the impression that it wasn't actually going to. I don't know how. Maybe having the bush onto your character would override your ability to do this emote, but having the bush onto your character and doing the flippin' sexy emote looks so ridiculous. The bush actually ends up laying on its side when your character ends up laying on their side as well, but it looks really funny and it's a super funny thing to do if you guys have the bush and you also have this emote purchased. But from the looks of it, it appears that this emote clearly works super well even if you have the bush on your character. Now the final myth I wanted to take a look at in today's video is whether or not the soccer ball would roll if another rollable object was shot at it. In this case, we're going to be testing whether or not the soccer ball rolls if you shoot the brand new egg launcher at it. I know that if you shoot a regular weapon and regular bullets hit it, then it obviously doesn't move, but I was under the impression, or I was hoping, that if you shot another rollable object, being these Easter eggs, that the ball would connect with these eggs and it would also cause it to roll. But clearly you guys can see that the eggs just go right through the ball, and I was also hoping that maybe the explosion from these eggs would also possibly trigger the ball to move to a different location. But clearly you guys can see this myth was busted and the soccer ball didn't actually move when it was shot with an egg. So guys, that's going to wrap it up for the first episode of Fortnite Mythbusters. I know that all of these myths weren't super detailed, but I just kind of wanted to test the water with this new series here on my channel, and I wanted to hear your guys' opinions and feedback on it. If you guys really like this series, I would be more than happy to do more, and I'm very curious to know what myths you guys want me to test in the future, so let me know down in the comments section below. But if you guys don't like this series and don't want me to do it anymore, then you can also let me know in the comment section below, and maybe I just won't do it anymore as well. Overall, I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. If you did, please be sure to drop a like down below, subscribe if you're new. With that being said, I'll be sure to catch you guys later.